888-971 SAGE 888-971-7243. Larry Elder here, broadcasting from beautiful Nashville. This is my final day here at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention. Had a great time. Met a number of people, some of whom you're going to be hearing from today. Victoria Jackson, the former SNL performer who became a conservative and a Christian, will be joining us. Every Thursday we talk to Dr. Sebastian Gorka. And as you know, Hope Hicks has resigned from the White House. There are some 30 staffers that do not have top security clearances. We're going to find out the relevance of all that with Dr. Gorka. And in a few minutes, we'll talk to Dr. Roger McGrath, who is a historian. And the reason I want to talk to Dr. McGrath is because of this expression I've been hearing since the Parkland shooting. We don't want to turn America, quote, into the wild, wild west, close quote. This term, wild, wild west, synonymous with reckless, chaotic violence, turns out to be completely and totally untrue. And Dr. Roger McGrath will talk to us about that. So all that's coming up. Stick around for all of that. 888-971-SAGE. A number of things have happened since you and I have last talked, including the appearance on the part of the president that he appears to endorse an assault weapons ban. He also said something to the effect of, well, play number 9, please.
Spoken about, Mr. President, gun violence restraining orders. They're called. California actually has a version of this, and I think you, in your meeting with governors earlier this week, individually and as a group, we spoke about states taking steps. But the focus is to literally give families and give local law enforcement additional tools if an individual is reported to be a potential danger to themselves or others. Allow due process so that no one's rights are trampled, but the ability to go to court, obtain an order, and then collect not only the firearms, but any weapons in the possession of that individual.
Or might take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system, because a lot of times by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process procedures. I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida. He had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first, go through due process second.
Take the guns first, go through due process second? Are you kidding me? Now, presumably between then and now, somebody's gotten to him and said, Mr. President, we do have something in this country called due process, the Fifth Amendment, and you can't take somebody's gun and then due process second. You just can't. It doesn't work that way. Hopefully somebody's gone to him and said that. Here's the issue. This whole issue of involuntary commitment, do you know who fought it? The left. The ACLU in particular. The head of the New York chapter of the ACLU was a man named Bruce Ennis, and in the 70s, he said this, and I'm quoting him, "My personal goal is to either abolish involuntary commitment or to set up so many procedural roadblocks and hurdles that it will be difficult, if not impossible, for the state to commit people against their will," end of quote. You know what the standard is? The standard is you have to be determined by a judge to be of danger to yourself or to others. That's called due process. You can't take the guns away and then do due process second. Take the guns away, do due process second. You know what that's called? That's called a lawsuit. The president on several occasions has made statements like that. And it's our job, those of us who support him and feel that he is, for the most part, good for America, certainly much better for America than the alternative in 2016. It's our job to keep him focused and to keep him disciplined and to keep him principled. And this is one of those examples where you have to say something. Not unlike when the president, on more than one occasion, talked about mandatory paid family leave. Government mandated mandatory paid family leave. Have you ever heard a Republican, one who's supposedly a conservative Republican, ever say such a thing? Outrageous. And hopefully the Republicans will beat that back. Now, the president, regarding the so-called assault weapons ban, here's what he said, number 10.
To start with, and I want to just make one more case.
It's the best we've ever done, too.
And I want to make one more case, and we appreciate your support for that bill from a different perspective. And of course, I support that bill and other things. But The states that have these background checks, they have a 38% lower domestic homicide rate. This is domestic violence.
Right.
And for those cases especially, it makes a major difference. And this number, just for you to keep with you, 6,000 women in 10 years were killed by a partner, whether it was a spouse or boyfriend. 6,000. That is more than we lost for brave troops in Iraq and Afghanistan. And so just doing something on this background check issue and using that as a base, and then I would like to add some of these other things we've talked about, I think would make a major difference.
So if you could add that to this bill, that would be great, Diane. If you could add what you have also, and I think you can, into the bill.
Yeah.
So
Joe, are you ready?
Can you do that? Joe, can you do that? Pat, can you add some of the things? You're not going to agree with me.
Yeah, if you help.
Well, no, I'll help, but can you add what Amy and what Diane have? Can we add them in? And I know you can add what John
Yeah, I
has.
have another domestic violence bill that's very narrow, and it's about dating partners, and a number of states have just
I would
enacted
say
it with
this.
Republican
We're going to get
support.
it passed.
Yeah.
We're going to get it passed. If you can add domestic violence paragraphs, pages into this bill, I'm all for it. I think it's terrific if you can do it. It can be done. That can be done too.
The first female voice you heard was Senator Klobuchar from Minnesota. The second one was Dianne Feinstein from California, who, by the way, has not been endorsed by the state party for her next term. She apparently is still going to run. She'll still get the nomination. But it's fascinating that Dianne Feinstein, who's left-wing, is not left-wing enough for California. President Trump also said that he wanted to raise the minimum age at which you can purchase a firearm to 21 years old. And he said that the NRA was okay with that. No, the NRA is not okay with that. Let's remember one more thing. There's something known as the Militia Act. Read the Second Amendment. A well-regulated militia necessary for the freedom of a free people. The right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. What is the militia? This has been litigated several times. And recently the Supreme Court has ruled that the militia means civilians, that you have an individual right to keep and bear arms, not a right as a collective, as a part of a government-run militia. The militia is designed for you and me to be able to protect ourselves against a tyrannical government, a government that many people right now in the left feel is already tyrannical. You call Donald Trump a Hitler, you call him a Satan, you call him a Nazi, you call him a tyrant, and yet simultaneously you want to restrict the ability to deal with a Nazi or a Hitler or a tyrant? I don't understand that. Explain that to me, unless you're not serious. The Section 311, U.S. Title Code 10, as amended in 1958, and I quote, "The militia of the United States consists of all able-bodied males at least 17 years of age and under 45 years of age who are or who have made a declaration of intention to become citizens of the United States, and of female citizens of the United States who are members of the National Guard," end of quote. So when you talk about raising the minimum age to 21, to whatever, keep in mind that 21-year-old person, that 19-year-old person, is part of the citizens militia as defined by the United States Militia Act. So when you raise the minimum age to 21, I'm trying to figure out how that squares with the Militia Act. 888-971 SAGE 888-971-7243. In a few minutes, Dr. Roger McGrath will be joining us. Fox News is reporting that the Broward County Sheriff deputies were given orders not to rush into the school. Number one, please.
Yeah, it's an awful situation all around. I know it's painful and difficult for you and all of your friends at school. Let me get your reaction to what's happened with Dick's Sporting Goods, a major retailer business that actually sold the Florida shooter a shotgun last year at the age of only 18. They say they will stop selling AR-15 style rifles. The CEO of the store of the company also says decision was made for the kids of Stoneman Douglas, and you're going to have to be 21 from now on to purchase any kind of weapon there. What's your reaction?
I know I just talked about some very depressing issues, but I want to say that is
We're
the
going to pick
most
this up
uplifting.
on the other side, because they got into the deputies reportedly given orders not to rush into the school. We'll deal with that after we've spoken with Dr. Roger McGrath, so stick around for that. 888-971-SAG. By the way, we have a brand new Las Vegas station, AM 670 KMZQ. Marty Bash is the GM. Thank you so much for carrying our show live.